Hey, as you know, over the last year and a half, we have been hard at work remodeling this cabin behind me. You've seen us do a lot of projects in here, everything from ripping it apart to putting it back together, and it is almost done. So I thought now would be a good time to do a cabin update and show you what it looks like now compared to when we bought it. Let's go have a look. The biggest and first thing that you're going to notice is the color has changed. Now, you've probably seen this in other videos, but this is not the color it was when we first bought this place. It was, well, it was pretty orange.
Oh my gosh!
A major change we made was the walkway leading up to the front door. Now, originally there weren't pavers here. There were a series, not just one, but a series of decks. They were wheelchair accessible, which was great, but they just didn't flow and fit the vibe that we were going for that well. So we ripped all those out, replaced them with this nice paver path, which in my opinion looks much, much better. It's funny, this has been going on for such a long time. I even have a hard time remembering what things looked like to begin with. So let's do a little flashback to what the front door used to look like.
Wow!
Where the cabin is located, we actually get quite a bit of snow in the winter, so it baffled me that there was no protection over the front door. When we started doing the demo on the cabin, we found a lot of water damage right at the base of the door, because what would happen is the snow would fall, there'd be a foot and a half of snow, and then as that snow melted, it had no place to go and it would just run under the door. I don't understand why they lived with it that way for years, but I knew it was really important to add some protection to the front of the house. So we put in this nice awning. Not only does it protect the front door, but it gives a great space that we're gonna enjoy. You know, if it's raining or snowing, we can put a bench out here and it's covered, we're protected, but most importantly, the front door is now protected. Another major upgrade we made to the entire house was replacing all of the doors and all of the windows. The original door was a solid panel, which is a shame because this water feature that came with the house actually looks pretty nice. And I love that you can look right through the front door and enjoy that from inside the house, which you couldn't do before. Plus the doors were outdated and didn't look that great. So replacing the doors and windows really just helped upgrade the entire space. When you start demoing a project of this size, you really have some ideas of what you want to do with spaces, but you don't know exactly what you're going to do until you get into it. This bathroom, however, turned out pretty much as I expected it would. The original bathroom was much tighter because there was storage here, there was a smaller vanity, it was orange, there was wallpaper, there was a shower insert here that was fiberglass. As you can see, we took out that shower unit. I almost died doing so. Remember that? Obviously, we redid all of the electrical behind it. It's ran properly and up to code now. Replaced the shower insert with a nice tile, glass, it's walk-in. I really like the walk-in showers because you don't have a door that never works right. It always leaks and you gotta clean it. So just getting rid of the door, I think, is a good solution. We replaced the vanities. You might remember the videos we did on building this vanity, and then I love the way that we did this marble countertop with kind of this stacked, detailed look. All in all, it's still a smaller bathroom, but it's much more functional and it looks pretty nice. When you come in the door, you go straight through into this main living space. Now, this space has transformed a lot from what it originally looked like. Now, we're gonna show you some before and after as I do the entire tour of the house, but at the very end of this video, we're gonna go space by space and give you a good picture of the before and after. So if you feel like you're not getting enough of that now, just wait till the end of the video. It's hard to remember, but this space was pretty rough. Remember there was this kind of weird dividing wall down the center here? That was a doozy to get out. As I opened it up, I realized there was actually a structural beam here. I said, I don't care, and I ripped it out anyways. And then the engineer was like, well, you actually do need something there. So we replaced that with this glulam beam that runs up here, but we tried to make it match everything as much as possible. We repainted the ceilings. They were a combination of dark wood and a very orangey 70s tongue and groove. We painted everything white, which really opens up and lightens the space up. Obviously, this has become the living room. There used to be a door right here in the middle of this wall. We got rid of that door completely. This wall used to be windows over here. We replaced the entire window with this nice sliding door package that leads right out onto the back deck. And then we made this space the dining room. Originally, I think they had this as the living room and the living room as the dining room. I thought that was a little weird being the orientation to the kitchen. And I gotta tell you, there's something really nice about sitting at the dining room table, building a little fire in the fireplace. It's cozy, you know, it's comforting. I think I might have said when we first did the walkthrough video that I really liked the brick that was here and we were gonna leave it. And leave the existing brick. I actually like the brick. As you can see, we did not leave it. I think at some point I said that I didn't love the brick and we were gonna do a German schmear. It's almost like a whitewash over the brick, but it's not a whitewash because you can still see the brick, but it's like got the schmear stuff on it. It actually looks pretty nice. We didn't do that either. We ended up just painting the brick white. It was kind of a split-second decision. The painters were here and I just said, go ahead and paint it. And I'm really glad we did. It just lightens up the space. I love the way the painted brick looks. We replaced the old yellow, ugly mantle with this nice rustic beam of a mantle. We did a video on that if you want to check it out. And other than that, we pretty much left the fireplace as is. It still has these nice sliding steel doors, which I still love. They work great. And overall, I think this was a huge upgrade to the space. This whole space here was a doozy. Originally, there was this lower door that was for wood storage. There's a door on the exterior of the house so you could put wood from the outside and then get it from the inside. And then they had their TV above this. I went back and forth on what to do in this space. Ultimately, what made the decision was heat retention. We realized that those two pass-through doors were just letting so much cold air in from the outside, and there wasn't a great way to insulate that space. So I opened the space up, I added insulation behind this to seal it all off, and then I just happened to be looking at appliances and I saw this fridge, which was almost the perfect size to fit in this space. So we just made it a little drink station, which worked pretty good. Oh, the kitchen pretty much has stayed the same. I mean, if you flash back to what it originally looked like, it doesn't really look that much different. Layout-wise, the aesthetics obviously have changed quite a bit. We moved the fridge from over here and we put it over here. We built it into the cabinets, which I just think looks much nicer. The sink is generally where the sink was. We left that there, and the oven is now moved over. We enlarged the window and centered the oven in front of the window. Now, a lot of you guys had a big problem with putting the oven in front of the window. You said you should have put the sink in front of the window. If you put the oven in front of the window, then you're gonna get grease and stuff all over it. I don't know what kind of food you guys are cooking, but quit making such a mess. There's actually a reason we didn't put the sink in front of the window. Believe me, I wanted to. That was decision number one. In tearing apart and doing all the demo on the house, we realized that from about here over, the house is actually cantilevered over the foundation. So this section of the house is floating in space, which means it was really difficult to do any plumbing in that cantilevered section as far as insulation and keeping it up to code. So we were told we couldn't put the sink here. So we put the oven here and we put the sink over here. Make sense? Are you happy now? Will you quit commenting down in the comment section that I did everything wrong? I tried. There were originally shelves in here, but they weren't done that great. So we got rid of those shelves, obviously. We did this nice tile backsplash. We added our own floating shelves. Yes, there's a video on that too. There's a video on everything. Just assume that. You might also notice that there's a little more space in the entire kitchen. And that's because another thing we discovered in the demolition process is that the original loft was not built correctly. We had an engineer come in and look at it, and he was shocked that it hadn't already fallen down. So we ended up actually taking down the entire loft space and rebuilding it, which worked out pretty good because it allowed us to raise the loft up almost 10 inches, which doesn't seem like a lot, but you gotta think the original loft was right about here, so it gave us a lot more space in the entire kitchen. We also rebuilt all the cabinets. My friend Josh Norco over at Northeast Woodworks helped us build those in his shop. There's a video on that. And we redid the island, which allowed us to make it a little bit bigger. We did stone countertops, got rid of the Formica. And all in all, the space, the layout is somewhat the same, but as you can see, it looks much nicer, cleaner, and, well, not from the 70s. One question I should probably answer because I know that you're going to ask, because people ask all the time, is where's your microwave? Well, in today's world, there's a solution for everything. I really didn't want a microwave out on the counter, so check this out. Ooh, look at that. Oh, I mean, they think of everything. Microwaves, just built into your cabinets. Pretty cool. Another decision we made to make the kitchen feel a little bit bigger is we went for a counter depth fridge. Now, if you're building a kitchen in a smaller space, counter depth fridges are actually a great solution because there's still a ton of room inside the fridge, especially for a house that you're not living in all the time, but it pushes the fridge back almost in line with all of your cabinets, so it's not bumped out into the room as much. And it looks nice. You remember this piece? We did a whole video because it used to stick out to about here, and then I rebuilt it and put it all back together, and now it fits the space pretty nice. Oh. When you're remodeling a house, it's funny because you look at a space and you think it is so tiny. When I first saw this living room, I thought there was no way you're going to be able to fit enough furniture in here to make it comfortable. But once you start putting furniture in, it almost gets bigger. I know it's weird. The more you add to a space, the bigger it feels. But it's still not a big space. However, we've got plenty of seating, coffee table, TV, and it's quite comfortable. I built this, remember? Did a video on building this whole thing out of reclaimed wood. Looks pretty nice. I added these unlacquered brass numbers to all the doors. I don't know, I thought it was fun. It made it seem like a hotel. I also replaced all the doorknobs and hinges with unlacquered brass just to elevate things a bit. This originally was not being used as a bedroom. It was being used as an office, and it was pretty tiny in here. Remember, this is where I found that portal to hell in the middle of the floor? You remember that? Or underneath this rug, there's a portal to hell. Hole right there. Obviously, we ripped out all the cabinets that were in here. That really opened up the space. This is a queen size bed, which fits just fine. I still have some things I need to do in the house as a whole, mainly pieces of furniture that need to be built. Obviously, we need a side table in here. I think a little dresser on that side of the bed would be nice. The rooms aren't huge, but for a vacation home, they're plenty big. Got a place to sleep, you got a place to put your stuff. What more could you ask for? There's another bedroom right here, which the bedroom itself looks about the same, but how you get into the bedroom is completely different. The door originally wasn't here. The door was actually right here, which is part of the reason that we had a whole predicament with the stairs, because the stairs had to be pushed back too far because they couldn't cover up the door, and then there was the whole issue with the stairs covering up the door of the other bedroom. You remember that? Wouldn't it be cool if the stairs just cut across a doorway there and we trimmed up to them? So we made a decision to get rid of this door, move it over here to allow more room for the stairs, and now this bedroom looks pretty nice. This room is actually exactly the same size as the other bedroom. We just oriented it a little bit different because of the window. But there's a nice view out the window to the water feature. Woo! That's all I have to say about that. It's a bedroom. It looks nice. It looks clean. There used to be another one of those half walls like it was in the living room, but it was right here. And it came down to about there and just really closed off this whole space. I wanted it to be as open as possible when you walk in the front door all the way through to the back. So we ripped that half wall, dividing wall, whatever you want to call it, down. We did have to leave a little bit of a beam at the top because some of it was structural, but now it's nice and opened up. Something else that made a huge difference in the house as a whole was that I decided to do this trim package throughout the entire downstairs. Originally, I thought about just doing baseboard. It would have been easier. It would have saved me a lot of time and headache, but I just think that the wainscoting the beadboard all the way up as far as I went, it just adds a special element to the whole house. And then I took the opportunity to add this nice little coat rack into the top rail. So when you walk in, you got a place to, put your coats, your hats. You can sit down here, take your shoes off. What people do when they come in a house. The one problem, however, with doing the chair rail up this high is that there was an electrical panel on this wall. And I went back and forth on how do you deal with an electrical panel so it's not super ugly with your chair rail. So I bought this giant painting. I framed it out, and now the electrical panel you still have access to, but it just looks a lot nicer having a painting there than staring at an electrical panel. Don't you think? Continuing on down the hallway. There was a time where that would have worked because there was a doorway right here into the master bathroom. Down the hallway, you can turn into the master bedroom bathroom. But there's also a doorway right here into the master bedroom. So you could go into the bathroom and into the bedroom, or you could go into the bedroom and into the bathroom. It was a whole identity crisis going on. So we made the decision to get rid of the door into the bathroom, just leaving the door into the bedroom. We're gonna get rid of this door here, because we don't need it. There's access through the bedroom, which makes a lot more sense. And now there is one door from the master bedroom into the bathroom. We're gonna have to do a little flashback thing because this space looks nothing like it did originally. So what once was a combination walk-in closet slash bathroom slash toilet room, sink room, carpet is now a nice, very large bathroom. You'll notice this cabinet was actually original to the bathroom. It's the only thing in the entire house that we didn't get rid of. I did add a new face frame to it. I installed drawers, and eventually I will put drawer faces and cabinet doors on it. But there's always that one thing in everybody's house that you need to do and you just haven't done yet. So it would be a shame to not have at least one of those in this house, right? So just imagine this with cabinet doors and drawer faces. Plenty of storage. Looks pretty good. We added this double vanity. You might remember me building this. This has probably got to be one of my favorite vanities I've ever built. I just really like the overall look of it. It looks fancy. Gives you plenty of storage, nice sinks. We did this cool kind of waterfall marble feature down onto the countertop, which looks nice. And yeah, you can do all your bathroomy things there. Nice giganto shower. Again, it's just a walk-in. You don't have to worry about the door. Plenty of space for all your shower time activities. That's how I take a shower. Is that how you guys take a shower? It gets the water everywhere. Toilet for pooping, and then that's the master bathroom. One of the biggest changes to the master bedroom as a whole is the ceiling right here. Originally, the ceiling was much higher, but it came at a great cost because the ceiling being higher meant that upstairs, well, we had that giant box. We have an Egyptian sarcophagus. There's no way that an architect could have drawn this up and designed it this way. So this is actually the ceiling of the master bedroom, which is directly below it. At one point, I thought we were just gonna live with the box in that upstairs room. We were gonna build some weird bunk beds around it and try and make it work. But as we got into the demo process and I opened it up a little bit, I realized that it would be possible to push that ceiling back into this room. And it really doesn't look that awkward. I mean, if I didn't tell you about it, you probably wouldn't think anything of it. It's a much better solution than a giant box upstairs. And we still have plenty of room for a king-size bed, these beautiful side tables. Remember that video? Huh? Ooh. It's funny, those took me a really long time, and then you shove them next to a bed and probably you're never gonna appreciate them again. And then obviously we replaced the windows, added a new door, much cleaner, much brighter. Let's go look at the laundry room. The laundry room footprint is the same, but the room is completely different. There was some weird stuff going on this side of the room. There was this weird closet here, there was a weird closet here, there was the door to the garage here, and it kind of was confusing. So we got rid of both of these closets, opened up the space. Now you can go right into the garage. We moved the washer and dryer, which were here, on an exterior wall, and it was obvious from the demo that they had issues with that exterior plumbing freezing in the winter. So we made the decision to move it to an interior wall over here. Built it into the cabinets, so now we have the washer and dryer and a nice sink, plenty of cabinet space. There's still some things though that we want to do in this room. We just haven't got there yet. I want to do an entry bench system here, kind of like a mud room. There'll be some upper hooks or cabinets to store your jackets and hats and gloves. You can sit here, you can take off your snow gear, your boots, whatever. And then behind you, right over here, we created this little alcove space. I'm gonna do a big built-in storage unit over here. So there'll be kind of like a little broom closet and drawers and cabinets and overflow storage. Make this room a little bit more functional. And then the last thing eventually I want to do is maybe add some open shelving above the washer and dryer so that my wife has a place to stack a bunch of things we never use. You know, like baskets and pottery. You know how wives love to fill shelves with things. Don't want to rob that of her. Rob her of that. Rob her of that. Let's go look at the garage. The only thing we really changed in the garage was new lighting. The lighting in here was terrible. So we replaced the lights, we added a new garage door opener. It's not that exciting. And I put some workout equipment out here. Eventually we'll clean this whole space up. Maybe, I don't know, do a pool table or something. The stairs. Now this video, you guys were very opinionated about it. If you don't remember, let me refresh your memory. The original stairs had to be ripped out because we had to rebuild the loft. Now I thought they were going to be grandfathered in and we could leave them, but then we found out that we actually never had a final inspection on the house in 1976, so nothing in the house was grandfathered in. So we had to rebuild the stairs. Now modern code said that the stairs had to be built in a certain way. If we were to build the stairs up to code, the stairs actually came out to right about here, which meant that when you opened the front door, it was approximately 1 3/4 inches away from the front of the stairs. Not only did the stairs have to come out so far, they had to be a little bit wider, which meant that this was very narrow to get by. So, what do you do if you want to build stairs that aren't up to code, but you still have to pass code? We ripped out the original stairs. I built a fake set of stairs. We passed inspection, and then I built the new and final set of stairs. Now, you guys had some issues with the fact that there's no railing on this side or handrail on this side. And let me assure you that I'm actually going to put a handrail on this side. I just haven't got there. You were also worried about the railing on this side and people falling off. Yeah, I don't care about that. I'm not putting a railing up. If they fall off, it's their own fault. Oh my, I fell. Craig, help me. As you can see, we've done a lot with this space, kind of. It still eventually is going to get maybe some furniture up here to sit down. I do have a TV that I'm going to put on this wall, make it another little hangout area. But the things you'll notice right off the bat is that there used to be a door here that we got rid of. That was the door into the bathroom. There also used to be a step from the loft up into this space. But remember, we ripped out the original loft, and in doing so, we were able to raise the entire thing up to even out the floor in this entire upstairs portion of the house, which means there's no longer a step here, which is pretty nice. And then you used to run straight into the shower, have to make a hard left turn through the tiniest little thing into this other bedroom. So, raised the loft up, evened everything out, got rid of the shower, so now where the shower was is the door into the bathroom. It's a small, bathroom, but for a half bath, it's plenty big. You got your toilet, you got this beautiful walnut vanity, remember that build? And eventually we'll put some art and stuff on the wall. And then from this bathroom, you can go right into this bedroom, which is much bigger because we got rid of the giant sarcophagus that was along this wall and we pushed it back down into the master bedroom. Overall, this is a big space now, and it actually gave us an entire extra fourth bedroom, which is really nice. We put another queen-size bed up here, and there would always be the option to do a built-in bed, maybe in this corner or along this wall. The only reason we haven't done that yet is because the ceiling height, as you get closer to this wall, gets pretty low, and we just thought it might be a little bit awkward. I actually banged my head on one of these beams when I was doing the trim, and I kind of screwed my neck up. Oh, you remember this piece? I do. It was one of the worst decisions I ever made in my life. But it looks nice up here. Yeah, pretty good space. No sarcophagus. So there's just a quick overview of what we've done to the space so far. There's still some things that need to be done, yes, and I'm sure we'll be back over here for other videos in the future. And if you're still struggling to grasp the differences between when we first bought this place and how it looks now, we thought we'd put together just a little montage of classic before and afters. Here you go. Well, there you have it, the remodeled cabin. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. It has been so much fun to take this project on. At times, it wasn't as fun as other times, but the important thing is we got it done. Originally, I didn't think we were gonna redo the deck, but after doing the entire inside of the house, I think the deck, well, it needs to be redone. So next spring, we're gonna rip it all out and take on that project. I mean, I'm personally not gonna do it. I'm gonna hire someone to do that because you guys don't wanna see that. Anyways, check the video description. There's a link down there to our Patreon. There's a link down there to the Bourbon blade, the universal table saw jig, all sorts of stuff. Until next time. As you can see, I'm pretty good at remodeling things, building things, you know, carpentry. But you know what I'm not good at? Building websites. Because I'm not a web designer. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But this video is sponsored by Squarespace. And the thing I love about Squarespace is they can take somebody like me, somebody who doesn't know anything about computers, and make me feel like a professional web designer. That's how easy it is to build a professional looking website with Squarespace. All you do is go to squarespace.com, you pick out which templates you want, whatever fits your business best. And if it's not perfect, that's okay, because every template is customizable. And if you're selling things on your website, you're looking to grow your customer base, it's really easy to create a newsletter that people can sign up for on your website, and then you build this whole newsletter list. And when cool things happen, like, for example, towards the end of the year, the Bourbon Blade Mini is coming out, we can let everybody know right through our newsletter. We're doing some pretty sweet stuff with AI as well, like this. Squarespace's Blueprint AI, it's basically this website builder. You get a fully custom website in just a few steps. They use basic information about your industry, goals, and personality to generate premium quality content and personalized design recommendations. I know, crazy. You can get custom domain names on Squarespace, you can sell products on Squarespace, and there's no limit to the amount of products you want to sell. If you want to sell a million things, you can sell a million things right there on Squarespace. So if you want to check it out, here's what you're going to want to do. Go to squarespace.com/bourbonmothwoodworking, and you're going to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Or you can just use the coupon code bourbonmothwoodworking at checkout. There's a link on the screen somewhere. There's a link in the video description. Or like I said, just go to squarespace.com/bourbonmothwoodworking. What do I do now that this place is all done?